Okay, so thanks y'all for coming and being here. This is room 5, so I'm the room monitor. I'm also the first speaker, so there's that. Anyway, since it is now almost past 1, we got 20 seconds until 1 is passed. We can go ahead and get started. I want to thank everyone for being super brave and coming to TBD. That is my toxic trait of not having my abstract submitted on time. But this is the presentation. So hello, welcome to Spatial SQL, GP tools. Where we're going, we don't need GP tools. And the genesis of this presentation stems from an issue that I had at work, which we'll talk about a little later on. But really, this is the presentation that I wish I had seen 10 years ago. And the more that I dug into this subject, the more I wanted to share it with other people. So here we are. Let's go. Normally, this is the part where people say stuff about themselves and credentials and whatever. For me, I guess I can say this. This month is actually the 10-year anniversary of when I first joined the geospatial workforce. And that doesn't necessarily mean that I have 10 years of experience. I have several years of experience in different aspects of the geospatial vertical, much like jumping from timeline to timeline. Each role has been something new and interesting. In my current work, I'm focused on data engineering and geodatabases. In previous lives, I've worked for local government from the analyst to management level. I've moonlighted at a coding boot camp. And my first job was drawing parcels at a private consultancy. This is a signpost. We're going to go through a few slides first. I don't read stuff on the slides, so if it's blurry, I'm sorry. It's not really important. What's important is that we're all here together. So as much as I'd love to go full-on demo, there's some educational stuff that I find interesting, so that's in here. We'll go through it pretty fast, though. I'm hoping that we all know what SQL is at this point, but in case we don't, here's a primer. SQL is a 4th-generation programming language, meaning you don't directly reason about the computing. You tell the computer what to do, and it does the thing. And it was developed by IBM in the 1970s and first offered commercially by Oracle. It was standardized by ANSI and the ISO in the mid-1980s. And I don't really know that I was ever vaguely aware that spatial SQL was a thing. Coming from programming and scripting end of things, my assumption was that everything ran out of GDAL, right? And to be honest, I don't really like writing SQL. So some of this was like a sour grapes kind of thing. I like Python, therefore SQL is inferior. In my current role, I deal with a lot of big data, and the zeitgeist there is that spatial operations are expensive, meaning the majority of the work is done using table operations whenever possible. Lots of data frames, lots of SQL, and if I can mix metaphors a bit here, there are likely people in this audience, or at least at the conference, that lived through this portion of the industry's growth, right? And that should give everyone pause. That our industry is still in such a young state that we can accurately identify these moments, right? Esri purchased the spatial database engine and rebranded it as Arc SDE in 1997, which brought spatial operations to relational database management systems. RDBMS is like the same length, so I'm just going to struggle to say the whole word every time. There will be more of that. 2 years later, we get the first published spatial SQL standards in 1999. The PostGIS extension for Postgres began development in 2001. commercial uptake was a bit slower. Oracle in 2005, Microsoft SQL Server in 2008, and in the open source world, Spatial Light for SQLite was first released in 2008. MySQL partially implemented Spatial SQL in 2015 with more full support in 2018. So like, these are all years that we've lived through. That's crazy. That's crazy for me. All of this to say, there's an interesting amount of development still ongoing in this space. And we, as geospatial practitioners, have options of what we can use depending on our software and relational database management system providers. So that's most of the interesting history stuff out of the way. We'll move forward into the applied stuff, and that would be, how should I learn Spatial SQL? What can I reference, etc. If you're the kind of person to read books, if you're a book person, I'd 100% recommend Matt Forrest. And also, there's just not a ton of written resources on this. There's like 6 books. There's like 6 books. I don't know. But PostGIS is Spatial SQL, so that would be another avenue to search if you're doing the book thing. And again, the specific dialect and context is going to be determined by the underlying relational database management system. But spatial operations are spatial operations. If you are using PostGIS, you may not find the same operations available in other systems as they have deployed more functions than the other implementations. If you're more into the YouTube thing, also Matt Forrest. He's great. He's got a channel, talks about Spatial SQL. And if you're an in-person kind of person, John May hosts several workshops a year on all things SQL, including Spatial SQL. If you missed out on the offering at this conference, he will have another workshop series later this year hosted by Eureka, Texas. So again, cannot stop mixing the metaphors. And what I mean to say is you can also totally learn by doing, and likely due to the content availability, you will be learning by doing. And when you're doing, the best way to learn is by going to the source. We're gonna go into this stuff. And I'm recording this. It'll be up on YouTube. It'll be on SCAUG's website. So just read the docs. Really, there's these docs. You should read them. Docs are life. It's a joke, kind of. I don't know, it depends. And what it depends on is how well the docs are put together. And you'll notice there's only Microsoft, PostGIS, and the ArcGIS ST geometry. That's not by accident. To be honest, the Microsoft docs are a little rough. Definitely assumes a level of knowledge that you, and by you I mean me, don't have. The PostGIS docs are the best, and we'll take a quick look at them, and then we'll dive into the demo. So here we go. Woo. All right. So if you're looking for the Esri docs, you can just Google search ST geometry function reference ArcGIS, and right here it's going to say ST geometry SQL function reference. It's a PDF doc, and it's pretty well put together. I mean, the branding here just spot on, right? Just woo, design out the everything. But what's cool is these are all like clickable, right? So you can click on them, and that's neat. Mostly it's just going to be SQL snippets, although I went too far. I always do this. I've like done this presentation to myself 3 times, which is not a lot. But it's anyway. So they've got these pictures, right? And pictures are great because spatial operations are hard to wrap your head around sometimes. So that's why I like the Esri docs, is they've got some of this stuff, which is pretty nice. But really, the MVP of documentation on Spatial SQL is PostGIS. So you can do PostGIS documentation. I'm not good at typing on laptop keyboards. It says documentation. All right. And so what's here, was it here? I don't know. Is it getting started? All right, here we go. Yeah. So the official manual, it comes in a web page, a PDF, an ebook. If you're into like Kindles or Nooks or whatever, I think they still make Nooks. I know they make Kindles, but you can do it all. Also, the same kind of thing. The things are clickable. And so why I think that PostGIS has the best documentation. And if you're right there in the audience, like, man, what is going on? It will make sense. We're going on a journey, and so you're gonna meet some characters, and we'll get back like, oh, you're the dude. It's the dude. Anyway, so in their geometry processing chapter, right? These are all the little subsections. All of these have pretty pictures. Love pretty pictures. Most of them have larger descriptions than 2 sentences. I chose poorly, as it were. Here we go. Filter. There we go. Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff. So again, it's going to be SQL snippets, but it's pretty well described. Yeah. So there's that. And I just had to like. There's the gratuitous. There's the documentation. We might look at the documentation. I don't know. I didn't practice the demos a lot, so we're getting into territory that we have not practiced. So here we go. I'm gonna show a few things. We'll just get started. Okay, so this is ArcGIS Pro. We all know and love. We're going to do everything with PostGIS and Postgres today. So what I want to show y'all real quick is creating an enterprise geodatabase. And not that we have to do that, right? But I don't know anyone. I don't think I know anyone that actually uses Postgres with their stuff. And it's like, oh, Postgres is so scary. No, I don't know. And I just want to show it just works like any other thing, right? So we're going to call this database some database. And then we're going to put in our Postgres password. We're going to put in our SDE password, and it's 3 letters. You'll never guess what it is. And then we will put in our authorization file. And then right here at spatial type, we've got ST geometry and PostGIS. ST geometry is Esri's stuff that comes with like every database. And then you got PostGIS. So we're going to do PostGIS, and we'll talk about why here in a second. But here we go. And it's going to be pretty quick. And if you only have one enterprise geodatabase in your life, you don't have to have a monogamous relationship with enterprise geodatabases. You should have more. There's no law on the books against having more than one enterprise geodatabase. They don't cost money to make. You can put them all in the same instance, make more enterprise geodatabases. So let's go look at it. All right. So here's pgadmin. This is the database management thing, right? If you're familiar with Microsoft Land, this is your SSMS. And you just go here, and if you haven't saved your password, you'll type in your password every single time and then not touch it for 6 months and forget it and then have to do all this stuff. Anyway, oh geez, this is not, I want it to be a little clearer. That's okay. So here we go. No, here we go. No, there we go. There's our sum database. No big deal. And you'll see it's got a little SDE and a public, but that's not important. We're not gonna really talk about that. So what I want to show is here in database land. Okay, so depending on if your shop is doing stuff the right way or if your shop is not doing stuff the right way. And then who am I? Who am I to tell you you're not doing stuff the right way? But if you're thinking of schemas of like, oh, schemas are like the kinds of fields and the number of fields I have in my database, you're wrong. Schemas are the data owners, right? And so SDE should only own the system tables, and then all the other feature classes should be owned by like a data owner. So our data owner, our schema that we're using today is called SCAUG. And so if we open this up and then go to tables, we'll see that we have 3 tables here, and we'll see that we have 3 layers here, a point, a line, and a polygon. We don't care about that. We just want to look at the stuff. So moving forward. Okay, I got 15 minutes. I'm doing okay. I was worried about time. I'm still kind of worried about time, but we're gonna figure it out. All right, so if you right click on your table and go to scripts and do a select script, here we go. It's gonna automatically populate your column names from the table, and we're just gonna run it. And so what's cool about this is if you click this little map button here in your shape column, it is going to pop up a nifty map. How cool is that? And you might be like, well, I've been in SSMS. I've seen a nifty map that's just shapes on a white background. And I'm sure you have. But what's cool is that if we do a little bit of spatial SQL, this map inside of PostGIS or Postgres is going to get a lot cooler, okay? So we're going to do ST transform. And for the geospatial people in the audience, we are reprojecting our coordinate system, right? I didn't tell you this, but we're in 3857 because when you're not in a projected coordinate system, your buffers look wonky, and then you have to go down a rabbit hole of how to cast your stuff, and then you figure out you can do ST transform. So all we're doing, right, is we're changing, what'd I do? Oh, I can't spell. That's most of programming is fixing your spelling errors. All right, so all we've done is we've changed it from 3857 to 4326, and then we click this map button, and look at this, it's a map, oh my gosh. And you can zoom in, and you can click on stuff, and look, it's got things. How cool is this? And never open up ArcGIS Pro again. Just kidding. You can't like color things and whatever, but it's a nifty little map, and I want to show the thing, and I wanted to have a fun way to do the first demo, which is, right, ST transform. All we did is we gave it our geometry column, and then we gave it the new spatial reference identifier that we wanted. So super cool, right? We're all in here. No one's run away scared yet, and that's nice. And so what's the point? Like, what's the point of spatial SQL? And I really wanted to start the presentation with like, what's the point of spatial SQL? But I wanted to like, you know, kind of clutter things up a little bit to get to this. We're all kind of invested now. It's a little bit too late to walk out without being obnoxious. And so the point of spatial SQL for me as a programmer is that I really want to write things once, right? And like I really took pride in myself, like, oh no, I know ArcPy, man. I can write you a thing, and you just push the button, and it's gonna make you a map. And then it's like, okay, yeah, but can you make me that map every day? And I'm like, oh, I got to put it on task scheduler, and then I got to remember to set it with system privileges, and if my password expires, then it's gonna break, and it's this whole thing. And I think that we as map people, geospatial people, we appreciate that when you print out the map, it's automatically stale, right? And I've come to the same understanding with my programming. It's like I can do a programming thing, but if it's not live, it's stale. I'm doing the same thing as just giving you a map. And I don't like doing that. So what we need to do is we need to have views, which we might do the view right now. So when you run the spatial tools, right, your GP processes, you're running a task and it does the thing and then it's done and it's stale. So what we're going to look at now is we are going to pretend we're scoring infrastructure based on some sort of calculated risk derived from number of work orders against the thing, the age of the thing, and the material that the thing is made out of. And the reason why I chose this is because I was at SCAUG and I saw someone do this with Python. I was like, whoa, because I was still working at a city and I was interested in that kind of stuff. And I was like just so blown away, like you can make your work orders tell you the risk of when you should be replacing your water lines. And it's like, yeah. And it's like you're doing the thing and it's like, here, we're going to output an Excel file. And you got an Excel file showing your bad stuff. I'm like, okay, right? And then it goes back to like once a year, your whoever is like, hey, can you make that thing? And I don't want to make the thing anymore. I want to make the thing once and then have it available at all times. So we're going to do that. And the way we're going to do that is we've got our water stuff. Okay. Or just, okay, so like I'm really, I know you won't believe me. I'm not tidy. Personally, my programming, I'm very tidy. I will try not to be overly tidy for this. So what we're going to do is hopefully this, it's gonna look bad. It's gonna look bad no matter what I do, and I'm just trying, you know, be gentle with me. I'm trying to be gentle with myself. Okay, so here we're just selecting the columns. Ugh, why is this first? Ugh. Sorry, my bad. Okay, so we're just selecting columns, right? And we got dumb stuff. We got pipes named Pipey McPipeface. We got pipes made out of cast iron or whatever. And so we're just gonna make a little cool, we're gonna make a little cool query here that I've got. We're going to count star as incidents. And what I don't like about SQL is like you've got to, it's not linear in the way that you think about it. So you have to build some stuff before some other stuff. And so it's not going to be good to explain count star until we put some other stuff in it. So I apologize for that. But we're going to group, I'll try. We're going to group by things, and by grouping by the things, if you use count star, it'll tell you how many records have been grouped. There we go, I did it. All right, so then next we have a date field telling us when the thing was built. And so what we're doing here is we're just going to say, hey, use a function called date part, right? It gets the part of the date you're doing. Then we're going to use another function called age. And then age, we have another function called now, like right now, this very second. As soon as we hit the play button, that's what it's going to be. And it takes a range of items and then returns the diff. It returns the diff, right? And so we are going to say, hey, water date construction. Oh, okay. I messed up. Here, almost. Sorry, we're going to give aliases to this table, and we're just going to say, we're calling them water dot, and we'll see that. And this is why I hate SQL. I was not lying of like, I don't like writing SQL. I really don't. It's horrible. I mean, I'm recommending it right now, and I don't want to recommend it. I wish there was something else. There's not. This is the best tool for the job, so that's the job we're going to do. Okay, so we're just getting the year of how old the pipe is based on right now, and then based on the date that is put in the ground based on the attribute column. And now we're going to make another one. And this one is going to be, this is going to look so nasty, and we're just going to try and do it, even though it's gross. Okay, so here we are. And this is my Python self, like, hey, can we give some form to this function? And we'll see. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we are going to do the exact same thing we just did here, right? We're grabbing the date part, and that's because in SQL you can't like reuse stuff in line, right? It has to exist to reuse it. So you're writing a lot of stuff, or you're doing functions and stuff in SQL, and that's not cool either. Okay, so we're just doing the date thing, right? And then we are multiplying it, right, with the star button, right? Star or asterisk. We're multiplying it by a count, right? And then we are multiplying that by, we're going to use some additional logic here, and we'll try not to hate ourselves while we do it. Yeah, SQL doesn't care if you do uppercase or lowercase, and I'm still not good enough to do it correctly. So case when water.material equals PVC, then 1, right? That's a numeric. When water.material equals, we're almost there, guys. We're almost there. Don't you worry. Cast iron. Do we say iron or iron? I say iron, and it really is off-putting to people. So I'm sorry, that's what I'm doing. Okay, so if it's not either of those, then it's 2, and then we have to put the word end on it because SQL's dumb. It's like, I don't know that you want to end it after an else, because what else would be after an else? So the spec says there's nothing after else, so you should, whatever. I'm gonna stop complaining, and we're gonna call it crit score, I'm gonna call it crit score. And then we've got, ooh, we're gonna put water shape at the end. Here we go, put this at the end. And then we are almost there. Ooh, I'm slow at typing, so I'm just gonna copy paste some of my notes onto here. We did the important stuff. So we're doing this from this table. We're gonna call the table water because we're doing water.stuff. And then finally, we're just doing a group. We're doing a where. We're doing a where statement. Our where statement is again some spatial SQL, and it's gonna say, hey, where the shape, where the geometry of this table is intersecting, right? So D within is a buffer that doesn't have the overhead of creating the buffer shape. It knows how big the buffer shape is supposed to be, so it doesn't have to draw it. It just says, hey, is there anything within this theoretical shape, and intersect that, right? So kind of mind-blowing for GIS people. It's like, oh, you got a buffer, then you got an intersect. This is like a select by location. And then we're saying, hey, 50 feet, and then we're grouping it by all of these things, which is just all of these columns right here. And that's to keep it unique. And so when we hit the play button, what'd I do? I messed up. How'd I mess it up?
Versus deconstruction.
What's up?
I think deconstruction, there. It's supposed to be deconstructed.
Oh, is it? Oh yeah, yes, thank you. Oh my, dude, that would have derailed it. I can guarantee you guys, I could be here for 10 more minutes and have not seen that. So first of all, that's an eagle eye. It looks. Oh, what I do? Constructed. Oh no. You know what? You guys get it. There we go. I hate this. I hate when it's like, hey, here's the code and blah blah blah. We gotta step through it, right? Because you gotta feel like you're behind the wheel right here. Anyway, so we do the thing, and all of a sudden we have like the number of times that there are points within an area, right? Because if we look at this, right, there are points close to those lines, and that's all we're doing. We're just counting some points, and then we're saying, hey, these are how old the pipes are. You'll notice they all ended in 4 because I just did decades and whatever, I'm lazy. And then we have like these crit scores, and these crit scores are just the math right here. It's like, hey, if the material was this, then it's a 1. If it's that, it's a blah blah whatever. And we look at the shape, and then these are all of our pipes that are within the thing, right? And then we could even say, right, we want to see just bad ones. Where the bad ones, right? Well, we could, right? I'd have to like rewrite this whole thing right here in the where thing, and then do like a greater than, and that's dumb. I don't want to do that. Anyway, so that's that. I ran long. I want to show you guys one other thing. I'm gonna do the thing I hate and copy paste it. But this one will be a view, and I'll just show you how to do a view real quick, and then we'll be done. Okay, so here we go. I'm sorry, I didn't practice. So what we're doing here is we are making a buffer in separate sizes, and this is what like caused me to go about this thing, is that I had a problem at work, and I had to have buffers at several scales, and my first Python instinct was like, well, I'll just write a horrible for loop, and then I'll put it on a cron job, and then we'll just push it to the SDE every week. And I was dumb. So instead, right, we're writing a view, and if we look at this view, we'll just, it is now in the database, right? It's in the database. It's called POI_view. And so real quick, we're gonna register a view. We're gonna register a thing. We can register right here. Oh man, I hear everyone. I hear everyone outside. Let's register a thing. Where's the? Oh gee, I'm just so used to the search bar. Register with. There we go. Okay, so now with something else. We're almost there, y'all. Thank you for staying with me. I know I missed the punchline. You can't see it. Here we go. It's saying, hey, there's a view here. We don't know what it is because we got to register it with the database. I'm like, okay, let's register it. And we kept object ID and we kept shape. And then, yeah, whatever. It's in 1984. And then when we do this, it should have added to the map and didn't. There we go. We put that in there, bam, look at this target stuff. And so we have a view that creates buffers on points all the time. So anytime you have a data edit or a change to this thing, it automatically updates. I don't have to write a script. I don't have to touch it ever again, ever. So that's that. That's the thing. I could have done a better job. I'm still a beginner. And so I just wanted to show, like, hey, as one beginner to other people, right? I just want to show that there's a thing that you can do, right? And you got to, like GIS, there's 1,000 ways to do the thing, and you got to do what's the right tool for the right job. But if you don't know that a tool exists, like, you can't use it. So maybe this isn't like the hammer for every nail, but I think it's super cool. And so I'm doing a lot of it right now. And I just want to show everyone that that's what I'm doing. So thank you so much. If anyone wants to chat about it, we certainly can. The next presentation starts in 9 minutes. And I can do questions. I hate saying questions, but whatever. We can do questions.
Have you used QGIS for Postgres?
I have not. So I have it installed on my computer, but I certainly do not use QGIS on a daily. I used it when I was in an organization that didn't have advanced licensing, but we have all the licensing, so I just use ArcGIS Pro.
My professor used to do QGIS and QGIS, and he loved it.
I didn't know you're talking about spatial views. I saw Scott. I think we were talking about Scott.
Oh, sorry for the old switcheroo. All right, I'm gonna turn this off and get you set up on the laptop.
I need to learn. Love all the pictures of the DeLoreans in your show. It's pronounced iron, by the way. I think the only person I've ever heard iron is Bugs Bunny. So.
Oh, okay, no worries.
But now